and let's get into the meat of, or the first topic of the show, which is our Han Solo review. We watched Han Solo.
It's been a week now.
Yeah, it's been a week, more than a week now.
Yeah.
Yes. So, we watched Han Solo. Like I did ask you last time for the Deadpool thoughts and review, whatever you want to call it. What was your favorite scene in the movie?
Are we going full spoilers right away?
Yeah, spoilers, sorry.
All right.
Yeah,
Spoiler alert. Heavy spoiler alert. Immediately heavy spoiler.
I mean, apparently not a lot of people have watched this movie.
Yeah, so. That's true. We'll get into that a little bit. For me, my favorite scene has to be the Maul reveal, the Darth Maul reveal. I don't really think that there is anywhere else to go with it. I think that them finally recognizing that part of the canon is really big. I think it presents the most interesting option. Well, I guess it's all in context of when we saw it, we weren't expecting Solo to bomb at the box office like it did. So I think it only did like 80-some million.
I think it's at
domestically the first weekend.
Yeah, I think it's going to be at like 40 or no 400. I think it's like
the total will be at 400.
But
okay,
then
so like
that's
400
before
to 500.
like international numbers as well. From the last time I checked, but it's not
okay,
looking
so half
good
a billion,
regardless.
Half a billion, you think maybe?
Yeah,
like
I think, but I think it's cost. I think over 3 for sure.
It's not making its money back probably because they had they did a bunch of reshoots when they brought Ron Howard back in,
and then
all the marketing.
So obviously, like it's not going to be good on that, but it might be. I think you sent me an article, and it might be good for Star Wars as like a wake up call in a way.
Well, yeah, that article was just like it's good saying that the failure of Solo is kind of like the perfect movie for Star Wars to have its first misstep because it's not really anything like it's not an episode. It's not one of the episodes. It's not really a movie that people wanted to begin with, and obviously that played into what you saw at the box office.
Yeah.
But I think that this is the best movie for Star Wars to have had its first failure because it's like people are gonna really easily brush it aside. I think in like the greater scheme of Star Wars, I think like not a lot of people are gonna care about this movie, and care whether or not it like was successful.
I think another thing to account for it is just everyone already has a bad taste in their mouth from the last Star Wars movie. I feel, and like a lot of people.
I don't know. There were a lot of people that really liked it.
I know there's a lot of people that liked it, but I feel like a majority of people that I've talked about with it, just like they just were not satisfied with the movie, and one way to not contribute to the next movie is not, or to for another Star Wars movie is to not go to the next one. I think it's definitely a better movie than Last Jedi for me, just because I felt like it was a good movie, like from start to beginning or start to finish. I felt like it was. I was paying attention to it more from start to beginning than I was for Last Jedi because I was just like I was more or less looking for loop scenes.
Okay.
Just because I don't know. That's the way it went. The way how the scenes with like Finn and the scenes with Poe were just not very appealing, I guess, to me.
I mean, I agree with you that I think Solo is a better movie than The Last Jedi as well.
Yeah.
But I would not at all say that I was paying more attention to Solo than I was The Last Jedi. Like Solo for me going into it was just like, oh, it's a Star Wars movie, I'm gonna go see it.
Yeah.
It's not really a movie that I felt was necessary, and I don't think that Disney and Star Wars did a good job of justifying its existence. Like at the end of that movie, I'm not like, wow, like they need to make another one, and I'm also like, wow, that really added something to Han Solo or anything to me. Like seeing The Last Jedi, like I was all in. I was paying attention to every little detail, every single scene.
I think it was me just being disappointed from like when we find out what the relationships between different specific characters and stuff and like their background. When you find out more stuff, that's when I was just like, no, I'm like not into it as much. But anyways, let's get back to Solo and talk about our favorite scene in the movie then.
Okay, yeah. So as we said before, we like derailed a little bit there. I think the best scene, really the only scene worth seeing again, worth watching the movie for, was the Darth Maul reveal in the last like 20 minutes. I think that it presents the most interesting options if they continue down this. So Alden Ehrenreich has signed on for 3 films. So obviously, unless they have something completely random up their sleeve, I think they kind of intended for this to be a trilogy of prequel movies.
The Solo character, right? That's what we're talking about. What's his name? Okay. But I think so that's then going into the conversation of like, is there going to even be another Solo movie? Well, like Disney's like, oh, this doesn't sell as much.
Right, so that's what I was saying.
That's a problem.
So the mall thing was my favorite thing about this movie, but with how much it's bombed, how much Solo's bombed at the box office, like they may not even expand on
mall.
Right, like it could end up being a dead end. At the time when we came out of the theater, it was like, oh man, look, like all the different things that they could do with Darth Maul and the stories that they could tell. But like if they don't make their money back on this movie, like.
Yeah, there's no point.
This is going to be for nothing.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I think the unfortunate thing is that you can't really put a guy in that situation and have him be successful in a way, because like it's Han Solo. Everyone's just like, they're so protective over it, obviously, and it's just like, I think even if he had like an Oscar-winning performance, I think still people would have been like, it's not Han Solo. Like, you know what I mean? There's just like people just don't buy into it. So regardless of whatever. It's going to happen. I think people are already going to have like a negative look at it. Like people, like you said, people didn't really want this movie at all. I mean, I don't even, like we were talking about Boba Fett with Jason, my dad. I'm like, there's a very few amount of people that actually want that movie as well. Right. So it's like people already having bad expectations. They're very pessimistic about it. So it's like the unfortunate thing is like that's the reality of it. But I mean, going back to like that scene, I think that scene is like, it gets me excited because obviously we're the prequel generation. So I'm like, oh, dude, he's back. But like the answers to those questions, like, wait, didn't he die in like Clone Wars? And then you pulled up your phone out and you're like, wait, no, like because he dies in Clone Wars. How does he even get to here? Well, I'm like, I don't. He had a time machine or something, dude. I can't explain.
I think actually when I looked it up, I saw that it was Rebels. Which I haven't watched Rebels yet.
So it was Rebels?
I think so.
Yeah, because I know he was in Rebels.
Yeah.
Right?
He dies in Rebels, not in Rebels.
Okay. So, okay. All right. So then I was right then in that conversation. So I got another check.
Sure. Whatever.
Cool. I got two check marks in one episode?
Yeah.
Jeez. Oh my god. But I think my favorite scene was probably Chewbacca, him and Chewbacca meeting. Even though it was kind of weird. I just like I think that's Han Solo just getting out of a bad situation. I feel like that's that's one of the good signatures they kind of kept in him. That was like, because obviously he's going to
definitely
change.
Talk his way out of it.
Yeah, exactly. So like him talking him out of that situation was like, okay, that's Han Solo to me, because like he got like when they said, oh, feed him to the monster, they're like, we have a monster, and then I was like, they have a monster? What the hell? What is going on in these front lines over here? And then we see Chewbacca come out. I'm like, oh, okay. How does this end? And then how it just was like a Han Solo kind of moment, I felt like. And that was like, I was kind of happy to see that in the beginning, and I was like, okay, maybe this movie is not going to be as bad as everyone thinks it's going to be. But that was my favorite scene.
I think what at first glance, what I thought was going to happen there was that was a Rancor pit and not Chewbacca. So like I immediately flashed back to like Jabba.
Yeah.
And like that's what I thought it was going to be.
There was something with tentacles, basically. I was like waiting to see something come out.
I was ready for that door to come up and like the Rancor to walk out or whatever. But what killed, I liked the scene. I liked that was how they met. But what killed it for me was Han talking and speaking in Wookiee.
Well, I mean
that completely stabbed that whole scene.
I think it makes sense to have that, because to establish that kind of relationship, like you kind of like you don't know if what's it called, Chewbacca knows English, so if he talks in Wookiee, that's the only way he's gonna like know to break that barrier. You know what I mean? So you can't really like.
But he didn't start the scene talking in Wookiee.
But like Chewbacca wasn't responding well
I guess.
To his English. Like
I didn't like it.
To his
I didn't
persuasions.
like the Wookiee. I didn't like human Wookiee.
Okay, that's okay. It is what it is. It's already made.
But it was good. It was a good way for them to meet. I think.
Yeah,
still.
Too, yeah. What was your least favorite scene?
Ooh, there are a few. I think off the top of my head, I don't know that this is my least favorite, but one that I hated right off the top of my head, right early on in the movie, was how he got his name. Like apparently Solo was not his last name. I didn't know that. Maybe that was already known in like the extended universe or the canon.
I forgot to talk about. Oh yeah, because like we after the movie, and then we were talking about that for a little bit, and then I was like, it would have been cool if he would have came up with it. I think
it was literally just assigned to him by like the Imperial recruiter, basically, because he didn't have a family. I'm forgetting the circumstances of it.
Well, how like I guess the Star Wars that planet works, like if you don't have a family, because he was an orphan basically.
Yeah, I guess.
So it made sense that he didn't have a last name or like a clan name or whatever.
Solo was assigned to him by a random Imperial officer.
He's like Solo. He's like
he thought he was being all clever.
Yeah, I like the sound of that.
So that one sticks out to me. I have to think for a little bit about what was worse.
I kind of was like, I shrugged that one off. I wasn't too pissed off about it or anything like that. I didn't like, I don't know, just like the weird scene with like the robots like rebelling.
Okay.
Like, I was just like, what is going on? Like when she's like hacking everything.
She found her true calling.
I know, but I understand that. But I was just like, I was just like weirded out, just how really chaotic they made that scene and just like kind of made it weird. It just felt weird to me.
Yeah, okay.
It was like all the robots like be free and like she's taking them all. I get like why she's doing that, but like the nature of like the whole scene being like set up and stuff. I was just like, I think the most important thing is like getting like the fuel, not like getting the robots here. But it is what it is, I guess. But that was probably like one of my least favorite scenes for sure out of like most of them. I mean, there's an the other one would be some like the weird like what's it called? I don't know. The flying scenes were kind of weird to me. I didn't feel believable for them to survive all that stuff and like the little cloud, the clusters they were in. It just was like weird. Like they made it. They were gonna make it anyways, right? I mean,
well, yeah,
like dropping like the little fuel thing into like the I guess.
Oh yeah. Taking a drop.
It just seemed like it was like, how convenient. Yeah. Oh, just drop it in. It's super safe. I'm like, oh, dude, this is fuel that blew up that mountain. Like,
what'd you think
like
of Space Squid?
Space Squid was cool. I like Space Squid.
You like Space Squid?
I like Space Squid. But it was just like weird how like they all survived through that. Just like, I guess. Like I said, like we were gonna know, like he has to survive this whole movie, so it doesn't really matter. But yeah, I mean another. I don't. Everything else is just like mediocre in a way where I'm like, okay.
I kind of feel that way too.
I liked every scene with like almost all the scenes with Woody Harrelson though. I felt like he was
okay.
He was a good character in this, especially the last scene where they have that standoff. And then
Mexican standoff.
And Han's just like, no bullshit. He just shoots. And like, oh, you shot first. Like, I would have done that. Like, that made me like his character a little bit more. But I wish he would have stayed alive and like they would have met back on Tatooine or something like that. Just because I like Woody Harrelson. So.
Yeah, I think that was probably another complaint of mine for the movie is that I felt like they went out of their way to hit like the cliche moments. It's like Han shot first. There was when they deliver the fuel to that outpost, they land it, like him and Lando are standing next to each other, and Lando's like, I hate you, and Han Solo's like, I know.
Well, it's like the first time they do that, though.
They're going they went out of their way to hit every single one. I'm like, I've got a good feeling about this. I think the only one maybe that they didn't hit was they were constantly, every single time that he's driving or flying something, they have to throw the dice, and like he gives them to
Emily Clark.
I'm blanking on her name.
I don't remember her name. I don't remember most names in this universe, so.
And then, like, she gives them back after they meet up again.
Yeah.
Like, there was this huge emphasis on the Force dice. That was, like, their only connection to the heaping, burning pile of trash that is The Last Jedi.
Yeah.
Was, like, the Force dice. But, like, in general, they just went way too far out of their way to touch all of those things. Like, it's just... I don't know. Like I didn't need that. Han. I guess as the week has gone on, so it's been about like a little bit more than a week since we've seen it. As like the week's gone on, I think I like the Han shot first scene better. But at the time, I was just like, of course. Of course they did this way.
Well, I felt like it's a transitional thing. It's where he starts to become Han. I think it's where he starts to like, I need to stop believing in people. You know what I mean? But it is what it is.
Again, I think it's another problem is Star Wars took this movie for granted. Like Lucasfilm and Disney took this film for granted that it was going to succeed. And I think that maybe they did too many things that are going to require a second movie.
Yeah.
Because they did not expect that this movie to fail at all. They're like, oh, it's basically we're going to slap Star Wars on it. As soon as
they hear about Darth Maul in the movie, they're gonna flock to those theaters.
Yeah.
Like, no, not really.
So because I don't really feel part of what I said earlier was that this movie didn't justify its existence, and I feel like I don't really feel that Han Solo is different than he was in the beginning. I don't feel like we've made it to Harrison Ford yet.
Yeah,
but at the same time, we don't know now. It's uncertain that we're going to get a second Solo movie. So the Maul thing, I thought that Donald Glover was great as Lando, and I don't know that we're going to get to see that anymore. We're not going to know anything of what's going on with Emilia Clarke taking over the little shadow organization that's working under Darth Maul.
We're still going to have to see when Han gets. Oh no, he gets the ship back. Never mind. He gets the ship at the very end of the end credits. Right. Yeah. I just remember that right now. But yeah. So, are we recommending this to people? I mean, we already went with our friends to go see this movie.
Yeah, I think that.
I would say it's better than Last Jedi for sure.
If you have a movie pass or something similar, I think that it's definitely worth it just for the last 20 minutes of the movie. I think the last 20-30 minutes are pretty good.
Yeah,
I think there are times where it gets a little bit slow. It's definitely maybe a little bit too predictable.
Okay.
Over the course of the whole thing.
It depends on the person, I guess.
But I would definitely go see it.
Yeah.
If especially with a movie pass and as long as your movie theater isn't $15 a ticket.
Yeah, do not go spend $15.
It's not worth $15. Yeah. Wait for Redbox.
Yeah.
Or on demand.
Or Netflix.
Yeah. Which actually, they've been pretty good about... Disney recently has been pretty good about throwing their stuff up on Netflix pretty quickly.
Yeah. I think Coco's already on Netflix.
Yeah.
So yeah.
You probably won't have to wait too long if you want to just wait for Netflix. But if you have any sort of provider, or movie pass or something similar, Cinemia, any of those sort of companies, I think it's definitely worth your time.